Hi everyone, this is Kyle from Mill Street Gardens. Today I'm going to take you through the process that we're using to transplant this rose that we had growing next to our driveway in our house.
This is a rose. The variety is unknown to us, but we do know that it gets covered with a ton of pink fragrant blooms every year, and it only blooms once per year, so consequently it puts on a really big show when it does bloom. It's currently in the wrong spot as it grows approximately 12 foot by 12 foot and maybe even larger. And it is very thorny and it snags people and cars in the driveway. So we definitely need to move it.
Now, we already chopped it back, which is important because we're doing a lot of root damage. And we dug up the roses. So the rose is really old. And it came apart in sections like, oops, I guess they want to be friends. They came apart in sections like this. Got that section, we got this section. But I'm very confident about transplanting it because this is kind of like what bare root roses look like when we receive them and we pot them up in the spring. So what we're doing now is I'm planting them in the ground in December, which probably isn't the best time. But to be honest, if I don't do it now, it'll probably never get done. So I'm pretty confident that they'll live. There'll probably be some dieback on the stems, but you know, they'll grow and they'll be fine. Alright, so now we have a bunch of sections of this rose that we're going to plant, and although it's a very stunning rose, we're going to actually put it on the border because it gets really big and it only blooms once per year. So I want to save spots in the garden for like in the actual border for roses that bloom multiple times per year and don't get as large. Alright, so we're kind of creating like a living fence out here, mostly because it's pretty. It's also a lot less expensive than a real fence because, you know, the neighbor might want some privacy between us and the garden center. So we're going to be plugging the rows in some gaps that we have. So we have a serviceberry way over there. We have a birding bush, but it's a compact birding bush. This one only gets about 7 feet tall. We got American cranberry. We got some currants that we have to move because they don't get very tall. Got forsythia that gets tall. Red twig dogwood, tall. Pussy willow, tall. Choke cherry doesn't get very tall. Might want to transplant that eventually. Buttonbush gets tall. We have calycanthus gets tall. We got this pretty scarlet willow, tall. We have, what is this? Oh, a Sergeant crabapple. It gets, 15 feet tall. A privet, tall. Dappled willow, tall. The spirea over here doesn't get very tall, so maybe you want to transplant that eventually. Put a rose there instead. Curly willow that gets tall. Another American cranberry. Tall, beautiful plant. Another forsythia. And then we got some blank spots over here that, we need to fill in. So maybe some of them will end up over there. One thing I forgot about our soil is it's very rocky here. So to go and grab the mattock, we got our bare root rows basically in here. This isn't grafted. This is just like really old, so it's really thick. Usually when you plant a rose, most of them are grafted. So if you see a knob that looks like this, where the graft point is, you want that underground in a colder climate. But here I'm just gonna plant it at the same level which I found it. So the moisture ends here. So that's about where it was in the ground. And I'm just backfilling. I'm not adding, see all those rocks? I'm not adding any sort of fertilizer yet because this is dormant. This plant is sleeping, so if I added fertilizer, which I usually do when I plant, I wouldn't do anything with it until spring. So I'll come back in spring and add some organic fertilizer, although looks like I might need to grab a little bit of compost because I don't know if all this is going to fill the hole back in. All right, so I got that filled back in. Now I'm just going to add some mulch to around the base. Do a couple inches for winter protection, but also for the grass and start growing in there. All right, so here's the last 3 roses I planted. I chose just to plant 4 of them. The rest of them I'm gonna pot up because I want some diversity in this border. So I don't want to, even though I have like 7 of them, I'm not gonna go too crazy with this roses. So I got them mulched and watered, and hopefully nice and protected for the winter. All right, so we got our roses planted in the ground, and I even got a couple of them potted up. Have I ever transplanted a rose in December? No, but I think it'll be okay. You just got to do it when you have time sometimes. And I've put up transplanting these roses for 2 years. So my thoughts are they will just kind of sit there during the winter. It's a very hardy variety, and then when it warms up in the spring, the rose will just start growing as if I planted it as a bare root. So if you guys have any questions or comments about this video, please feel free to leave some comments in the comment section below. Thank you.